Oh, good morning. Hey, we're just trying to do everything all at once here. It's Mornings with James. Good morning. Hey, I'll switch over, get in the center of the thing here. In case you're wondering, now normally my good friend Jesse's in here and helps me out with it, presses the right buttons, moves things in the right direction, and sometimes when you have to do it yourself, it can be a little bit on the awkward side. So, hope your Tuesday's off to an amazing start. Got some really cool, fun stuff going on. Let's talk about quitting smoking with hypnosis. Oh, wait a minute, Sydney's here. That's fantastic. Sydney, come on in.
All right.
Now we can go live with Sydney and talk about Cooley. Oh, she's got a special guest
I
with
brought
her
a
too.
friend. She's coming to sit and hang out and watch and learn.
Oh, okay.
So she's our summer student this year. So
Oh, perfect.
yeah,
Well,
special guest.
yeah. Well, you know what? You weren't here yet, so I thought, well, I'm just going to talk about quitting smoking without with hypnosis. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, fun stuff. Well, you know, it's one of the fun things that I absolutely love to do as a therapist is just help
Right.
people to make positive change happen. Right? When you get to that stage in life, and you're how old are you anyway? You're
23.
20. Oh my God, you're so young. When you get to that stage in life, when you start, and it's really sad. You get
Yeah.
like in your late 40s, early 50s, and you start losing all these, great people in your life to things
Yeah.
like cancer and everything like that. You just kind of want to get in the way of that. Do you want to come and have a seat?
Yeah.
You can just move my bag out of the way, and you can sit down on that black chair there. So, and what's your summer student's name?
Taylor.
Taylor.
She's excellent.
She is, eh?
Yeah.
Taylor's a great name. My daughter's name is Taylor.
Oh, look at that. She's
Yeah.
probably great too.
Yeah. Oh, she's absolutely fantastic. Yeah. Anyway, so Sydney, welcome to the program
Thanks for
again.
having me.
Yeah, we are absolutely. It's so fun. It's weird. The scroller on the bottom of this doesn't work properly, but that's okay. It'll be fun and wonderful. Sydney came in last week, and we were talking about Cooley Fest. Some fun and wonderful stuff. I'm going to actually get you to move over a little bit more so you're completely in here. Yeah, slide this way.
All right.
We're talking about Cooley Fest coming up at the Lethbridge College, and there was a problem with the broadcast. We didn't get the whole thing. We got kind of part way into it, and then I think Facebook must have thought that Cooley Fest was copyrighted material or something like that. I don't know.
Maybe.
Anyway, so we got 3 minutes into the conversation, and that was about it. So to back things up a little bit, tell us a little bit about Cooley Fest and tell us about your role
Yeah.
with Cooley Fest.
Yeah, so I am the Alumni Relations Coordinator at Lethbridge College here in town, and in Lethbridge, I guess, for those of you who aren't familiar where we are and maybe online. Something that Cooley Fest does is it's an event on September 15th from 1 till 7 p.m. On our campus located on our east side green space. And what's great about Cooley Fest is that it's a way for our whole community to get together and celebrate what we're doing at the college. We're constantly innovating and growing, and it's a way for us to welcome our students. It's the second week of classes, but also a way for us to say thank you to the Southern Alberta community for all their support. We want to bring alumni back to campus and show everyone what we're working on.
Yeah, that sounds like a great event. Now it's not just a college thing, right?
Right.
It's for everyone, and we say it's open, but really give us an idea of that how big it actually is.
Yeah, last year, so this is our second year. Last year we celebrated our 60th anniversary, so we kind of threw a party, and this year it was so successful we wanted to do it again. So kind of Cooley Fest 2.0, which is exciting, and it's really growing. We will have about up to 12 food trucks, I guess. There's live entertainment all day, beer
Some
gardens.
bands, stuff like that.
4 bands secured now. That might have changed since last week, so that's exciting.
Ah,
Yeah,
Perfect.
and we will have family-friendly activities, so petting zoo, bouncy castles, dunk tank, Kodiak mini sports, but we're also going to incorporate like an academic, focus this year. So we're going to do some program tours and some program profiles and some program booths that kind of showcase what we do at Lethbridge College and where we're going and the direction we're heading. So
Yeah.
a lot of experience, which is great.
yeah, excellent. Because I would imagine now you talk about family friendly, but I would imagine now, I mean, the college has changed quite a bit. Like even when I think back to even some of the courses that I have taken there just for the fun of it, like I took sort of a public speaking course
Yeah.
back in the late 80s.
Yeah.
The college was quite a bit smaller. The actual dorms and the housing that was there, that has actually developed quite a bit. So for people to actually get back and see the college and connect again. So, maybe as alumni you've moved forward and you've got, a couple of kids and what have you. Now you get a chance to kind of go back and participate in this great event where you'll see, because it's something like 2,500 people last year.
Yeah, the event, yeah, and I think we'll definitely surpass that this year, and because it's more community focused and we're bringing everyone back to the college, I think we'll see some greater numbers, which is exciting for us.
Yeah. Now, as that alumni coordinator, do you have an email list of former people, or is it kind of hard to track people down?
No.
Because if somebody's alumni from back in say the 90s, there's no email.
Yeah, and I think that's what, I guess, not a struggle, but a constant engagement point for us is that we always want alumni to update their information and share their story. Where are they now? We want them to stay connected. And you can do that in a variety of ways. On our website, we have, we have an updated alumni form so you can share your new information with us. But
Yeah.
I think we're always looking for that next best thing. So much has changed, and students leave our college and they do all these great things, and we want to hear about them. So yeah, getting your emails to alumni and getting them to me is highly important. So if you're alumni, I recommend you do that.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. And Jesse, the Jesse behind Jess FM and Jess TV, just showed up, and so hoping he can do a wonderful job of sharing all these wonderful posts all over the place. Really helps out. Now, you said you're 23 years old now. The one thing I love about people like yourself, you've accomplished so much in such a short time. And I look at you, I think, you'd be sort of a role model or an inspiration for young people. You're welcome. That want to get out and do a little bit more and just become more. At 23 years of age, I mean, this is not your first job.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your past.
Yeah, when I was in college and university, I'm actually alumni of the college myself, and then I furthered my education with Bachelor of Management at the U of L. I worked at the YMCA doing development and marketing the whole time I was
and that's
there.
where we first connected a couple of years back. Yeah.
So I used to run our charity golf tournament there and the Strong Kids campaign for about 4 years, and I gained a lot of experience and knowledge, and I also learned how you can change lives just by having an impact yourself.
No, well, hang on a sec here. Now I'm kind of learning something a little bit new here.
Yeah.
You ran that for 4 years.
Yeah.
You're 23 now.
Yeah.
You went to the college.
Yeah.
And you went to university.
Yeah.
You got your management. How did you find time for that? Like, what did you start when you were 15?
No, I went to college right out of high school, so I was just fresh 18 when I went to the college. Went there for 2 years, took a year off, and then went back to the U of L, and I graduated from the U of L in 2017. So I think I just did everything I wanted to do educationally in a short period of time. I feel like I'm very vision-based, and I always see myself at that next step. So I feel like I've actually worked for Lululemon for a year, and when I was working there, they do so much goal setting and vision training, and they always say, what is your next step? What does your vision look like? And then work backwards. So what do you need to do in order to create the vision for your life? And I feel like that's something I learned when I was very young, I guess. And I, still being young, I think I set my life timeline, I guess, up really great. But I like to live in the moment too. But I know what I want, and I try to put in the work to get there.
Well, that's incredible, because we talk about goal setting. A lot of people say, well, hey, I'd like to lose weight, or I'd like to, graduate, or I'd like to create this much abundance, or I'd like to make this much money this year. But that goal then has to be something that you live and breathe every day, right?
Yeah.
It's not just something you say, okay, well, as thoughts become things. So, I mean, that it is truth. Like, we talk about things like, for example, quitting smoking, or setting a goal, or moving forward and getting in the position you're in. You have to have a clear image of that in your mind. And one of the things as a therapist that I've seen for my clients when they haven't been as successful as they want to be, is that they don't focus their thoughts on where they're going. They don't have that goal-based vision. They kind of have a loose idea. Well, I kind of like. But, when we throw things out to the universe and we want to create that type of abundance, we want to move forward and go to that next level, the universe is not interested, well, I kind of like this. It is, you have to be passionate about it, right? And I noticed that in what you've done, a lot of things, you're always giving back.
Yeah, and that's always been really important for me. I feel like that impact piece, I feel like I've always been striving to make an impact in someone's life. When I was working at the Y, it was with our Strong Kids campaign, and I said this to you last week, but I was very fortunate growing up to always be in swimming lessons and be in sports, and my brother played hockey, and we were always active, and my parents really instilled that in us. When I worked at for the Y and the Strong Kids campaign, I've seen so many families who maybe weren't blessed with those opportunities, and I felt like, you know, if you can provide swimming lessons to someone or those life skills, being active and being physical, I think that's a great opportunity to give back to someone. And from there, I went to work at the Ronald McDonald House for a year, and there I seen that there was so
It's
many.
like so much in such a
I
short
know,
period of time.
I know, and I feel like I've met so many people and connected with so many individuals all over Alberta right now, because I've moved back and forth between here and Calgary a few times, and I feel like when I was at RMH, it was such a great opportunity to give back to a really great cause. It was There's so many sick kids and their families that had nowhere to go, and Ronald McDonald House was great for me to, you know, give them a place to stay, and it was heartwarming and heartbreaking at the same time. And then when I came to the college, I went to the college, so I felt like they gave me so much education and knowledge that I can give it back to the post-secondary institution. But also, I love the engagement piece of my role right now. I feel like I love sharing the stories and hearing the stories of our alumni. There's almost 40,000 alumni from the college.
40,000.
Yeah, almost getting there.
Yeah.
So we're constantly growing, and our alumni are doing all these great things that people don't know, and I want to hear their narratives, and I want to share those stories and connect them.
Yeah, and so how long has the college been around for?
So last year was our 60th anniversary, so this year is 61 years.
And so, you know, I guess Lethbridge is known as this this great post-secondary community between the college and the university, and you know, there's all kinds of like little private schools as well, and the college plays a really important role. And I know, like, for example, when I worked in radio, communication arts, we were always getting people from the college at the station, you know, either as an intern or as you know, an announcer.
Yeah, and I think that's really, we work with a lot of local radio stations, and they always seem to hire our grads, which is amazing. Like, I find it great that we have our local students are staying in our community and being employed by businesses around town. I think that's amazing. I feel like it's a win-win for everyone, and they can authentically speak to the programs at our institutions, and not just the college, but the U of L as well. And I think it's great that, you know, they're staying in our community, they're learning, and their knowledge is growing, and they're getting experience authentically through our local business owners. Yeah.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
So let's get back to, on the personal side of things, the success that you created and your direction. What does a day in the life of Sydney look like? So, you know, a lot of people, we talk about meditation, we talk about that goal setting, we talk about creating your day. What do you do to enhance that process?
Yeah, I think, like, first and foremost, I love my job, but
do you have a vision board?
I don't. I've done one before, but I don't have one right now. I haven't updated one in a while. I feel like your vision is also forever changing. I think as you learn and grow, like, no one ever knows what they do want to be or who they want to be when they grow up, I guess. But I feel like you know what you like and what you don't like, and learning from that as you go is important. But to me, I guess my number one priority right now in my life is work-life balance. Like, I like to work hard, play hard, I guess, have a lot of fun, but also do enough and do more than it takes to be successful in your role. Yeah.
One of the excuse me, one of the people I love to listen to, a real inspiration for me, is a gentleman by the name of Earl Nightingale. And Earl talks about, you know, things that you need to do for success, and one of them is always do the and then some, or always do more. Now, when I say and then some, that's quoting Rex Crane, who's a motivational speaker, more of a Christian-based motivational speaker, but you use the same language, the and then some, right, to get going forward. But, you know, a lot of times people go like, wow, that's really, really busy, but personally, what does that leave time for? You know, I mean, you're not settling down and getting married and having kids, obviously.
Not anytime soon, that's for sure.
Yeah, so, you know, so is there that balance as a woman? Is there, and I know that sounds really sexist, and Shannon Phillips and I talked about, you know, when it's a woman in politics, or a woman in a successful leading role, people always talk about, well, what about kids? You know, what about that? And Shannon said, well, you know, the kids have a father too.
Yeah.
You know, he plays an important role. It's not just this. But how do you balance that? Because, of course, you know, mom and dad got to, you know, hey, Sydney, come on, you know, like, when are you going to...
Well, I guess not anytime.
And that's not to put you on the spot, but it's just something that I think, you know, a lot of people, they can learn a lot about that life balance.
Yeah, I guess obviously that's not my future anytime soon. I would say one day, but definitely not in my near future. But I feel like I've always been pretty career driven, and that's not something I ever want to give up. I feel like there's always like a quote in my mind that says the future is female, and I feel like it's so impactful that girls can grow up and be who they want to be. I think my
Yeah.
parents always let me grow up and said you can do anything you want to do, and I feel like that's where I am now. So that's exciting. But I also like work-life balance is important to me. I'm really close to my family, and I have a really big group of friends, and we do a lot. We like to travel and go on trips and play softball and golf and, stay active and, have fun on the weekends. But I feel like in order to do that, you work really hard during the week and you get your things done that you need to do. And
Yeah.
like you said, you're always going that extra mile. And I feel like that's where I am now is because I've put in that time and that work and that dedication in order to further my professional life.
Yeah.
And personally too. I feel like you grow a lot and you learn a lot, and it comes from life experience and it comes from practical hands-on experience, and I've moved a lot and went through a lot of life changes, and I feel like they all contribute to
Yeah.
like who you are as a person.
No, that's absolutely. So, a ridiculous question for you.
Yeah.
How's your golf game?
Oh, it's coming slowly and surely. I golf in Ladies League every Wednesday. So last year was our first year, and we came along year in 1 year. So that's exciting, but I can't see myself playing any tournaments anytime soon.
Well, it's just for fun, but I think
Yeah.
it's so important that we have things like golf, for
Yeah.
example. And I know if I look at my life and I look at kind of the good years versus the not so good years, golf was always so important, and it seemed like the better the year was, the more I actually got out and golfed.
Yeah.
Which it sounds really strange, but I know last year I didn't get out to golf at all. It
Yeah.
just seemed like I just worked all the
Yeah.
time, and that's no fun. It's nice to be able to create,
Yeah.
but golf is something that forces you to really be in the moment. And if you're not in the moment of the swing, the backswing, and staying down and really focused, you're not having a good round.
Yeah, and I guess my favorite thing about Ladies League, and I know there's quite a few ladies who play in the league at Evergreen with us from the college. I think there's about 5 of us who
Yeah.
play throughout the days, which is great. But it's also having those commitments that make you leave work. Like work will always be there, and
Yes.
there's always something to do. But if you have that tea time at 5 o'clock on Wednesday, it's important that you leave and be accountable and be present and do the things you like to do. You can always go back to work the next day. And
Yeah.
I feel like that's something I've struggled with, and I feel like finding that balance is so important to me, and I feel like I'm finally getting to a point where you put in the time so you can do what you want to do.
Yeah. So, how important is timing to you? So, there are going to be people watching this. They're going to be like, okay, well, that's all fine and dandy.
Yeah.
She's got this. But there are certain things that go into this. Like, for example, do you show up on time? Do you show up 5 minutes before or 10 minutes before?
I think I'm definitely not a late person. I don't like to be late. I definitely am. I like to be early, but I don't know if I can always strive for 10 minutes early, but I feel like I'm a 5 minutes person, 5
Yeah.
minutes early person. I also don't like when not really patient enough to wait for people. I feel like everyone has busy schedules and places to be, and I feel like I never want people to wait on me either.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a saying that goes like, if you show up on time, you're already late.
Yeah.
Because if say, for example, for a meeting,
Yeah.
I've been part of a bunch of different breakfast clubs or
Yeah.
business organizations, marketing groups, and if you show up on time for it, you're late. Because in order for that meeting to start on time,
Yeah.
everybody has to get in. Maybe you get your coffee, you do this, you do that.
Definitely.
So if you're not there 5 minutes beforehand or 10 minutes beforehand,
Yeah.
you're actually late.
Yeah, it's so true, and I feel like even in our office, a lot of people start at 8:30, but they're ready to work at 8:30. They're present, they're in the moment, they've already eaten their breakfast, got their coffee, turned their laptops on, even check their email. I feel like it's a really good best practice to always, be ready and be prepared. Some days, whether that means like checking your life at the door and being present in the moment, I feel like it's important.
Yeah. And so when you talk about creating a vision of where you're going to go and how you're
Yeah.
going to get there, how detailed, because there are a couple of schools of thought, and I mean, I find it really interesting how different people can be with these things. Like, so for example, with Cooley Fest coming up September 15th
Yeah.
from 1 till 7,
Yeah.
right, at the college, you are organizing that, you've got a vision of that. how detailed do you get with it
Mm-hmm.
to make that a reality? For example, some people will say, well, you create the concept of it, and then you have the action plan, but then you stop worrying about it. You let it organically happen. Now, is that something you do, and everything falls in place, or do you kind of have to force it along, or
Yeah.
move it along? What's Sydney's perspective on that?
I feel like for Coulee Fest especially, I have a committee of over 20 people who support me in
Wow.
everything I do, so it's definitely not a one-person initiative. I feel like I couldn't do it without the support of my team, and it's a cross-campus event and initiative, so we try to strive for collaboration. I think that's one thing the college does really well, and I'm proud to work there because of that, and I know our whole team and every employee is proud of that. But I feel like with a vision, especially event-based, this is such a large event, and I can't take credit because I didn't do it last year. This is my first year doing the event. I think last year they put a lot of strategy into it and let it organically form. But this year I feel like my vision for the event is that we know what it is, so what is our key messaging? And that key messaging for Coulee Fest would be, we want alumni to come back. We want our new students to feel welcome. We want to showcase our campus to our community and our stakeholders, and I feel like that's important to know. So finding your key messaging, and whether that's for an event like Coulee Fest or your life, I feel like those are important. And then I feel like everything else in between then is a mix between organic and but also being authentic and transparent and letting the naturally form and flow. I feel like we can say we want family friendly activities, or we can say we want entertainment, or we can say we want academic profiles and showcases, but what those are will, I think, just come to be.
Yeah, they'll just sort of flow along.
Yeah, and I feel like finding like that vision, we know we wanted a family friendly, free of charge festival, so we wanted everyone to be welcome. So finding those aspects that I think appeal to every age was important for Coulee Fest.
And that's really important to mention too. It's absolutely a free event. So like all the bands are free.
Yeah.
Of course, the beer gardens will be free to get in,
Yeah.
but the beverages, of course, cost.
Yeah.
The food trucks are all there.
Yeah.
And how many food trucks?
We'll have up to 12. So I think we have about 7 or 8 officially confirmed, another few interested, but up to 12.
Yeah. So lots to sample. But when we look at what families can actually get out and do, there aren't. It seems like there aren't a lot of truly free events.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true.
Where I know, for example, we talked about, what was it? Shelter Me, Party in the Park, that McMahon put on Saturday.
Yeah.
That was a free event with lots of free different things.
Right.
And then they were doing fundraising at the same time. They kept their food prices really, really reasonable.
Nice.
So hot dog, chips, whatever is
Yeah.
only $1. But events like that, it's hard to find those free events. But when you think about because you've got the dunk tank, and you're also raising funds for the student association,
Yep.
right?
Through the dunk tank. Yeah.
Yeah, through the dunk tank.
Our
But
proceeds from there will go back to our LCSA food bank, which is exciting.
yeah, oh, great.
Yeah.
But then you've got all the bands and everybody performing, and so where do the funds come from for something like that?
Yeah, it's a college initiative, so we had some budget allocated. We also have a few sponsors who have helped us out in a few different ways, and a lot of gift in kind. But we want to celebrate, and I feel like it's important to us that everyone come out and see our campus, and they're not just taking a stroll and checking it out, but we're there to provide knowledge, and we're there for them to see what we have to offer. And we want to say, like I said earlier, say thank you. We want everyone to be recognized, and we want to welcome our students, and instead of having them go home that weekend, we want them to stay on campus. They might be homesick or ready to leave or need a break and they're stressed, but we want to make sure that they authentically see the culture of Lethbridge College.
Yeah. I think the other benefit to that too is when you have people that have gotten an education through the college, whether it was a course or whether it was a diploma or what have you, maybe a trades of some kind, and they come back, and the newer students and people in the community can see, the success that they've created, or how that education has transformed or helped to create their success in life. I think that's a win-win all around.
Definitely, yeah. Those alumni narratives are huge, and like I was saying earlier, that if someone or you yourself have a story to share, we want to hear it. We want to tell them. We want to speak authentically. It's a great way for our prospective students to see that the difference, I guess, that Lethbridge College had in someone's life.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure that we're sharing those stories. I think we're proud of our campus and our history as college, but we're also proud of our students.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that is absolutely great. You know what? I appreciate you taking the time to come
Yeah.
back here on a
Yeah.
Tuesday morning,
Yeah.
and you drag Taylor along, and
Yeah.
she's just frantically taking notes on the sides. No, that is great. Much appreciated. Thank you very much
I
again.
appreciate it.
Cooley Fest happening at Lethbridge College. That will be on September the 15th, and it takes place from 1 until 7. You've got live bands, you've got the inflatables, you've got food trucks, you've got the beer gardens. It's family friendly and it's free, so make sure you check that out. Sydney is just doing a fantastic job, her and her team, and we look forward to being able to share in that experience and share and just maybe do some Facebook Lives from the event as well. But Sydney also proves a great point. Be passionate about what you do the and then some, and get connected. We're always stronger as a community,
True.
you and your 20-person team,
Yeah.
than we are as individuals. So keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Get connected and be a part of all the fun. And until we get a chance to talk again in about 6 minutes, talking about hypnosis and quitting smoking, stay